for 90 seconds, okay? So that's if you're not actually down to read. So we'll see how it goes, if that's all right, because obviously we want people to be able to go to bed tonight at a reasonable time. So what we will ask is that you have a maximum of 4 minutes, which gives you quite a lot of time to be able to read, 500 or 600 words of a short story or flash fiction, or 2 to 3 poems, depending on the length of the poem. Obviously, if it's haikus, you can read a few more. But by and large, 4 minutes is a decent amount of time. Okay, well, what I'll do is I've got a running order. I'll try to put it on, but obviously I want to listen to people as well, so I'll put it on the chat. And I've got some requests for people who may need to leave a bit earlier. And also, we would like to put some people on early who have been with us before, and the wife, all the way through until it was their turn, and then they just disappeared because of the Wi-Fi connection. And that's happened more than one person in particular. So maybe we'll ask Ben. Well, I'll just go through the running order for the first half. I'll ask Ben to start us off, Ben Willens, and then Carolyn, Gordon, Zola, Martin, Elder, Eve, Don, Randy, Amanda, and Reggie. So we'll do it. We'll have those people on first half. Then we'll have a break of, see how we get on, maybe between 10, maximum 15 minutes, and then we'll sort of resume them with the rest of us, okay? Which is about, according to my notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9. There's about 10 people So there's about 11 people in the first half and 10 in the second half. Okay, so we'll see how we get on, and then we'll see if we can accommodate 1 or 2 other people. But depending on time. Okay, so our first reader is, and we'll ask you to do the usual, please. Maybe, I tend not to mute, but because I don't have a lot of background noise, but if that's the case, I'm fine. But by and large, if you can mute, obviously there's a comment section and there's the reactions for thumbs up and clapping and all that type of thing as well. So I'm sure people are used to all that after a year of doing this now. So without further ado, I'll introduce our first reader. It's Ben. Our first reader, Ben Willens.
Hello, thanks. I hope you can hear me. So I'll just get it over with quickly. So, right, this is a poem I wrote a couple of years ago. It's a bit morbid. I was deliberately trying to write the most morbid poem I could. So, yeah, maybe it's not the best poem to start with, but there you go. The city reeks of eternity. The sorrowful morgue monuments are more important than the living. Doorways are death doorways, a crawl of mausolea, footfall peaks and troughs. There's no one here, they're apparitions, locked out of their own dreams, going back to their tombs at daybreak. They form a frieze, hammered out of liquid steel, try to breathe and fail, try to rise from the mortuary slab, asleep in their body bag. Coins collect and disappear, polar lit windows, comfortless veneer, impounded with mannequins, pallbearers heavy as exhaust fumes, invisible mourners queue, each of the grandiose civic landmarks houses a serene effigy, irreconciled to its gruesome demise, chewed up in the silage of centuries. I'll just do another one then. This is called, so I'm going to try and speak some Arabic in this one, and it's probably wrong. So if anyone knows Arabic, I'm sort of banking on no one knowing Arabic to see what I'm doing wrong. But so agree to disagree. Malthus, Loyola, Descartes, a round table, a platform, captive a genie impounded for very good reasons. Your wish is my command, he proposes in Arabic. Ragabtuk ya amri. Speak English, speak Spanish, speak French, they order. Their ideas have no bearing in opulence. Their gods are punishers. What they desire is approval in numbers. The genie awards them swathes of continents, hardwood forests, parched riverbeds to label and mystify. They work from base metal prototypes, armies, hosts of perfect beings who can even be cut in half. And they go too far, up the Orinoco, flesh-eating, snack breeding, strung up by their mosquito nets. Thank you. Hope that was all right.
Okay, that came through fine. That then, good one, mate.
Oh, great! Cheers. Cheers.
Thanks, Ben. That's great. Thank you for that and starting us off. Okay. Somebody said, Gosia says she really liked the morbid one, so there you go. So thank you for that. And next up is Carolyn Crossley. Welcome back, Carolyn.
Thank you. Okie dokie do. Right, for anybody who doesn't know my poetry, I'm involved in writing a lot of foreign poetry, so I write a lot of haiku. In fact, I write daily haikus. And I also write some rhyming poetry, and I've had to go a longer poem that rhymes to see if I could still do it, really. So it's called The Apparition. Close creeps the darkness, and its chill gets inside these old joints and bone. A strong wind moans at the young owl's skill as he swoops down to the killing zone. The mere scrap of a mouse has lost his life to feed the hungry bird. What perfection nature is, and yet cruel in its strife. The mother gives and takes lives without reflection. Our mother nature is light and dark. She was always balanced before man's interference. In the distance, the farm dog's noisy bark makes me wonder, what is out there? The inference being someone has disturbed the canines. Tucked up in bed, I feel safe and warm. The noisy barks fade to quiet whines. I settle down to sleep, feeling far from harm. Yet something fearful stalks the night. The owl hoots out his warning. But it is not until it is fully light I learn of the night's dreadful haunting. They call her the Lady in White. On cold, misty nights, she walks the moor, looking for her lost children. She seeks out the light at any window. She moans and allows tears to pour down fair cheeks, but with eyes like burning coal. Some folks swear they have seen this ghastly ghost. But I maintain my skeptic soul with a locked door as I eat my cereal and toast. Thank you.
Okay, Carolyn, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, next up is, welcome back to Gordon Zola. Welcome back.
Hello. Yeah, it took me a while to unmute there. I've only had a year to get used to it. Yeah, so but as I get older, I've begun to realise what sacrifices my parents made for me. They were druids. Yeah, no, only joking. They were Satanists, really. But no, that's by and by. But they taught me the value of money. And being a counsellor, I've never had much. So you can imagine how appalled I was when I was trying to get help for a friend who lives in Birmingham, counselling. And we finally tracked one down in Birmingham because it was like trying to find an iota of truth in the BBC broadcast. But eventually found one, and she was willing to do it on Zoom. But she wanted 120 quid an hour. So, God, what do you get for 120 quid an hour? So I wrote this. It's called Deep. Sleep. She said, I can't sleep. I said, we'll have to delve deep. The thoughts seep into your mind. You find it's a bind to unwind. I don't mean to be unkind, but I find that you're set in your ways, and sometimes it pays to dig deep into your pocket. It's not rocket science, but there has to be a reliance on you being able to afford the session. Because people in my profession have been really struggling in this COVID recession. Have you tried regression? Now, it's not a diagnosis, but it could be symbiosis, neurosis, or even psychosis. But it's probably osmosis, or it could be depression. But there'll have to be lots of work to do before we make progression. We'll have to delve deep into your psyche. It's unlikely that it'll work, but who knows what secrets lurk in the depths of your mind? You seem slightly resigned. Are you on medication? Have you tried CBT, Reiki, or meditation? Or we could try a different approach. Did I tell you I was a life coach? We could broach the subject of past lives, because the ego thrives on unsolved issues. Now, please don't cry, you'll run out of tissues. Now, come on, dry those tears. We'll find the answers that you seek, but sadly, not today. We're out of time. If you can afford it, I'll see you on Zoom next week. If you just make the transfer into my account to Robin Bastard. Thank you. Okay.
Brilliant.
I don't know how much time I've got left, so I'll keep this intro short, this bit. So this is a pastiche on free falling, freestyling. It's I'm smiling, beguiling, freestyling. I say whatever comes into my head, although it doesn't make a shred of sense as to the suspense. I'm smiling, compiling details. When the rhyming fails, I just do a bit of beatbox and go down the scales. Then it speaks so fast so you can't say what I say, but I know it don't matter, because at the end of the day, I know everything's going to be okay, just long as I remember to say I'm freestyling. I'm doing this to up my street cred, but my brain's gone, mine's gone blank and my brain's gone dead. I really should have stayed in bed. I need my medication. Need to go on a vacation with 101 Dalmatians. I can see you running out of patience with my freestyling. I want to finish this, but I don't know what to do because I've had some weed and a few beers too. And I'm dying for a piss and I could do with a poo, but I've got to keep on telling you I'm freestyling. I'm smiling, beguiling, but much more of this will drive you round the bend. But how the fuck do you know when you've come to the end, when you're freestyling? Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thanks, Gordon Zola. Thank you for that. Okay. Our next reader, poet, performer is Ant Smith, but after Ant, then we've got somebody called Mandy who's come along, and she's an artist, and she just wants to have a word.
Ant's not here.
Ant's not here.
No, Smith's not. Yeah, I can't see Ant Smith there.
Okay, I've seen someone's screen saying Ant on it, so it's obviously.
Yeah, there's Ant Briscoe, and then
Briscoe.
Ant Briscoe's got two things on it, one for his other, one for his chat bar for his laptop.
Ah, okay. I say okay, like I understand that. All right, thanks. Right then. Okay.
You should be on stage, Steve.
Mandy, Mandy just wants a word. She's an artist, and she just wants to. She's asked to say a few words to the people who are here tonight. She's got a bit of a plea, I think. So, without further ado, Mandy, if you'd like to say what you want to say, thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm actually creating a COVID life book. I've been doing illustrations over the past year of all the kind of strange things that were going on, basically. And it's kind of ordinary people in extraordinary times, lots of queues and all sorts of things that were happening around. And I also asked people to send me photographs of what COVID was like for them. And so I've been doing, you may have seen them on the Chorlton Facebook page if any of you are from Chorlton. So I've been asking for submissions from writers so that the poems could go with the illustrations, basically. I'm doing a Kickstart campaign, which is supposed to launch tomorrow if everything goes okay. And so that is to actually get the book published. And so I've had lots of people contact me and say they'd like to do it. But basically they're responding to my illustrations, or if they've got a poem about COVID and it can't be any ranting or swearing in it, because it's got to kind of appeal to lots of people. But if you've got a poem that you've already got, I may do an illustration based on your poem. And so it's kind of, wanting people to respond to my artwork or me to respond to their poem. And the Kickstarter is to raise money to get it actually published. But then after that, I plan to actually, sell them to raise money for charity called ARC, which is an Arts for Health charity. And they do lots of great work, helping people who've had breakdowns and things, doing art projects. They've done writing projects as well. So it's going to raise money for that eventually, hopefully. If I manage to pull it off and actually get this book published through the Kickstarter, then that's what will happen. So I've just done loads of illustrations, and you can see them on my Instagram, which is Amanda Beck-McKim. And so I've got them all there. So that's the easiest place to see them, because I have got a website. But before I started doing illustrations, I was actually working as an artist in school. And so I was working with the community. So all that stopped. So a lot of my stuff on my website is to do with puppet making and working in schools, doing all sorts of art projects. So it's completely changed direction. So I haven't actually put all this artwork on there. But yeah, so you can see it on, if you're not on Instagram, you can see it on Facebook. My account on Facebook is called Wired and Wild. And so it'll be on that as well. But yeah, if anybody's interested, I would love to include some work from, lots of people really. So I've had quite a lot of published writers sort of contact me about it, but I've also had, people who have just started writing during the pandemic as well. So I'll have a range of different people from the community really. So, and I'm basically going to pick them based on what I can fit with the drawings and what works the best really. So yeah, if any of you are interested in submitting it, I will have my email. Should I give you my email now, or should I put it somewhere? It's m.beck.mckim, That's BECK, and then it's MCKIM for mother @gmail.com. So
Mandy, you might want to put it on the chat box as well to let people see it. I've put your Facebook page on there for you, and I see Antonia's already been on your Instagram page. Oh yeah, I see Mike's put it down there already, so you're sorted. Cheers, Mike.
I'll do that then. Yeah, so and I found where the chat box is. Is this different than normal Zoom? Has I had trouble getting on?
I've just put it on for you, Mandy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I'd really like to read what if people have been doing stuff already. I can read that and see if it fits. And I think it has to stay, because it's kind of linked with the mental health charity and everything. I think it has to stay quite positive. And it's kind of ordinary people sort of getting on with their lives, really, and that, I suppose, kind of a bit of a community feel about it. But you'll see by the drawings anyway, I think they are quite positive. I have done one of Boris Johnson that I've found it quite hard to be too positive when I was writing, because I've started actually writing poetry myself now, like just seeing if I can do it, just in case I didn't get enough poems to actually work. And I'm really enjoying it, actually. I think it's something I'm going to take up. But
Read this one next time.
Sorry, yeah.
Read this one next time.
Yeah, but I've really enjoyed it. It's probably simpler than what you've been doing. I really enjoyed what you've read tonight as well. Especially like the delivery of the last one. Sorry, I can't even see your names. My eyes aren't good on these little names. But yeah, it'd be fab if you could get involved anyway.
Great.
But yeah,
okay, that's brilliant.
That's it really, I think. But hopefully, I'll be posting my campaign as well. So if you are following me, you can see how that's going and see if I'm actually going to get funded to do this. I have had a lot of support, and basically I've been posting pictures of Chorlton on the Chorlton Facebook page, and I've had a lot of support on there, and lots of people have said they will buy the book. And it's kind of asking people to sort of pre-buy the book, in the hope that I can get it published, and then they will get it if it's successful, kind of thing. So I'm doing it that way, because I thought I did have interest from a person who works with publishers and things, but it was going to be too long a process, and I wanted it to be quite current and what's happening now, and try and get it out there. So yeah, that's the reason I haven't gone for the long haul of trying to do it through a publisher, and I'm self-publishing. But it's something I've never done before either, so it's all quite exciting. Hopefully I can make it all happen.
Brilliant. Well, good luck with it. Good luck.
Who's your publisher again?
No, I'm self-publishing.
Self-publishing.
Yes, but I have somebody who I know was interested in doing, putting it together for me and doing it, pitching it to a publisher. But she said it'd take a couple of years to sort of get it sorted, and I just wanted something that was kind of quite current and I could do now, basically. Yeah. But a bit crazy, I know. I've been not really having experience of it, but I have got a lot of support from different people and advice.
Brilliant. Well, good luck. Good luck with it. We'll have to move on, because we've got.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. We just thank you for that, and thanks for coming along, and good luck with the project and everything. That's brilliant.
Great.
That's great. Okay, because we've got quite a lot of poets still to we've got 20 people to introduce. So, our next person is new to Speakeasy. He's not been before. He's from the Stockport area. It's Martin Elden.
Thanks, Steve. Hi, everybody. I know one or two people, but I haven't seen Gordon for a long time. Good to see you. Okay, I've got a couple of things here. This first one's called Us. There are ones just like us everywhere, languishing, weird and strange, We're the ones who ride buses, bikes, drive cars, walk and run, use trains. Even if for some of us, it's just in our heads. We go to shops, we buy food, clothes, books and stuff. We go to pubs, bars, cafes and restaurants, cinemas, concerts and football matches. We replicate on Fridays and Saturdays and sometimes even Sundays. We batter and beg, we steal and fornicate. We empathise, sympathise, objectifise and pathologise. We systemize, compartmentalize and theorize. We computate and agitate. We mentalize, sterilize and brutalize our relationships. And when we think no one is looking, we confess. Unless we're obsessed, we theorize, plasticize and exercise our bodies a little and our tongues far too much, spilling out the first thing that comes forth, issuing great fountains of frothy, useless matter. We anathetize, serialize, fragmentize and eulogize, eventually fragmentizing all that we think we cannot attain because somehow attaining in the long run means we've lost. Yet still we carry on dissenting, dissecting and resurrecting bodies of things we should have done, punishing, berating and castigating endlessly for all that we wish we hadn't. Then suddenly we look up and realize that we are all a part of us, one overarching family called us. After all, I am me and you are you and they are they and they are too. But most of all, we are all just us. Thank you. Okay, a shorter one now. This is called A Place Where the Sun Doesn't Shine. The sun rises over Saturn and the landing lights are as clear as they have been. The rings of Jupiter dance in happy coalition and a new moon comes into being, avoiding the passing asteroids where dead fish psalms form orchestrated patterns just because they can. The cool reception from Venus bathes in the afterglow of Mars' ever bright, exuberant face. And Neptune smiles as we regain our orbit, heading for the place we call terra firma, far away from the rim, the outer reaches of which we cannot cognate, and we gasp and sigh as we drift and glide into the pull of our point of origin path, looking for a landing place, somewhere close to McDonald's, just off the A6. Thank you.
Yeah, good last line. Nice one. Thank you, Martin. Hope to see you back soon. Okay, welcome back anytime. And when we're all in the flesh as well, if you know what I mean. Next up, somebody welcome back to Speakeasy tonight. It's Eve Nortley. Welcome back, Eve.
Hi, sorry about the gap in transmission there. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to read a couple of love poems about the city of my birth, which is a fabulous green space in the middle of England called Birmingham. And, you know, because I do appreciate it's so fabulous that somewhere in America has called their city after it. And interestingly, it's another beautiful green city with a mayor called Randall, I understand. So there you go, small world. So my first piece is about a fabulous occupation that keeps you really fit. It's about Bangra, and it's called Birmingham Bangra Babes. The thunder of the dole can stir rich memories in your soul of those Birmingham Bangra babes. On the bus, in the park, at the cinema after dark, they sing and dance out a revolution, a twisting, turning, multicultural solution. On autumn days, in summer's soporific haze, I remember the crazy body and beat on the tarmac in the street, moving, grooving, hennaed feet. Torrid colours, glitz of gold, ancient stories aching to be told. Love and loss, hate and love, are they freedom fighters or peaceful turtle doves? Or will being both never ever be enough for my spinning, heart-winning, yearning, turning, dance floor burning, bold and brave, Birmingham Bangra babes? Thank you. My second piece is, it's a journey through the musical heritage of my city. And I guess it's a bit of a throwing down the gauntlet. And it's called Can You Feel It? It began with the ABC, liquid, smoky jazz and blues. Then Spencer Davis and his group were making the musical news. With a washboard in my hands, comb and paper on my lips, I'm skiffling down the deltas while the Vikings burn their ships. The move to a progressive beat was next for me and you. On Birmingham's psychedelic streets, we were feeling moody blue. Don't get heavy, rock on down, every day's a Black Sabbath all over our town. A Caribbean road trip next, with steel pulse on the beat. UB40, I'll be the selector, we'll make this party sweet. We sang like happy nightingales in our dodgy, misspent youth. We all committed GBH with traffic, that's the truth. And then a gift from the exotic East, greater than the sum of its parts, a Punjabi UK Bangra feast for hungry ears and hearts. Antisocial behaviour couldn't spoil our musical youth. This city's sound will never end. Brum is the living proof. And now a celebration, a cacophony of noise, our industrial past and future, grindcore for the girls and boys. In the Crown Court of Music, jukebox jury never lies. The judge has heard the evidence. Verdict, I'll give it 5. Eat your hearts out, you Manx and Scousers. You haven't got a prayer. Think you're the tops for music. Birmingham's already there. Thank you.
Thanks, Eve.
No problem.
I think that's the first time we've had anybody in the years I've been involved on the night giving Birmingham a big up. So well done.
Whoa.
First time I've heard that as well, Eve. Great stuff.
That's great. Okay, our next writer is and reader is welcome back to Don Dolby. Welcome back, Don. You need to unmute, mate. Don, you need to unmute.
I missed it. Misclicked. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
Well, by coincidence, my first piece is about music. Some of you might remember that I introduced you to my personal cloud that lives just above my head, and I have conversations with it sometimes. So this is another of those conversations. It's subtitled, So Why Did You Never See Jimi Hendrix? I heard you listening to that Jimi Hendrix album yesterday, said my cloud out of the blue. You like that album, don't you? Axis something or other, isn't it? Yes, I said. I often wonder why you never saw him live, said my cloud. You're obviously old enough. I pondered that and then replied, well, I said, that was because I was a rock and roll fan. Cloud was puzzled. What do you mean? I said, well, when I started buying records and seriously listening to music in the early 60s, I didn't really like the bland and insipid pop of all the Bobbies and the Frankies. My music was made by Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, Gene Vincent, Chuck Berry, and best of all, Eddie Cochran. My cloud seemed even more puzzled. But how did that make you miss seeing Jimi Hendrix? Well, I said, by the late 60s, there was a big 50s rock and roll scene in the pubs and clubs of the UK. I still don't understand. Well, many of those involved in that scene had the view that the only music worth listening to was original 50s rock and roll. Some of them still hold that view. It was easy to get sucked into that way of thinking, and for a while I did. Fortunately, my ears were always open somewhat to other stuff, and around that time I was lucky enough to go and see the film Woodstock and Jimmy's amazing performance. So your love of rock and roll stopped you going to see the Jimi Hendrix Experience, exclaimed my cloud in amazement. Yes, I said. By the time I came to my senses, his short life and career was over, and the chance was gone forever. It taught me a valuable lesson, though, and I've seen and listened to many great bands and artists in the 50 years since then. So, Cloud, whatever I missed and whatever I've seen, if the music has soul, if the music has feeling, depth and passion, then it's all rock and roll to me. Thank you. I've got two short poems if I've got time for both of them. This one is, I like to read at this time of the year because I'm in the week of the anniversary of my dad's death, many years ago now, but it's March the 5th, but he always liked his favourite month was April. So I wrote this, so hopefully a bit uplifting, this one called April is Coming. March is the anniversary of my father's death, but April is the month that he loved the best. He loved the change that nature would bring, rejoiced in it each and every spring. Birds are nesting, fox cubs are born, flowers are blooming, no more forlorn. Leaves are bursting from the trees, every meadow buzzing with bees. Bluebells carpet the woodland floor, sun is shining on us once more. So, Dad, I'll enjoy it for you once again. One more spring you didn't get to see. Eternal renewal, nature's greatest gift. Hope springs from every chrysalis, every bloom, and every leaf on every tree. This one, just to finish with, I wrote sometimes I think everybody does, probably just writes a few words and you never come back to them. And some of a few lines, and some of the lines in this one I wrote many years ago, and I revisited it recently and expanded it a bit. But I've called it, but the final line was always there, and it's called Slowly Choking. It's a poem about poetry to some extent, which I know we all like. So, Slowly Choking. Strange reflective silence that I hear, heavy with the menace of life, it covers me with fine silken moss, but I fear that I will soon awaken from my cocoon of comfort to the harsh and blinding sun. These words, my sanctuary, my release, as they rise from deep within, the thoughts that never cease, struggle to be heard, they can my prison be, sentence of words chaining me. But if my pen was filled with blood, it might tell you how I feel, for locked inside my aching heart, fighting to be free, imprisoned thoughts, unwritten words, slowly choking me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don. Nice piece of memoir at the beginning as well, so it was a nice change of pace.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Our next speaker is somebody I've really got to know since Zoom, really, and the lockdown, and feel like I know him quite well now. He runs a spoken word night, which is usually based in New Mills, but like everything else, is based in Zoom land at the moment. But it's first time reading that speakeasy, so it's welcome to Randy Horton.
Thank you. And what I have tonight is a tribute to one of my heroes from Texas named John Henry Falk. It's F-A-U-L-K for anyone who wants to look it up, and I think you should. So I'll get into it now. Well, I guess John Henry knew about as much about what they're calling cancel culture these days as just about anyone. Now, John Henry was a storyteller, and most folks liked the stories he told all right. He was a good Methodist boy from outside of Austin, and he knew how to get people interested in a story, even if it never really had any point to it at all, because he just had a nice way of talking that people could relate to. Not everyone liked everything he said, though. For instance, I guess some people were a little peeved when he said he thought maybe Cuba wasn't so much worse off under Castro than it had been before. And if the truth be told, maybe most people were doing a smidge better than they had been, and maybe it would be okay if the government did a little more to help people out. After all, he said, the government was sort of like a bus driver, and the people were paying for a smooth ride. If the bus started swerving off in the ditches and everything, well, the people should probably take over and get things back on solid ground. Well, don't you know that was enough to get people up in arms against poor old John Henry? And they started calling him a communist. And being called a communist was just about enough to destroy a person in those days. I can tell you John Henry knew it. He knew people who had taken their own lives after being called a communist and being put on a blacklist. John Henry was on that same old blacklist, you know. The folks calling themselves aware made a blacklist of entertainers that they said were communist, and no one on that list could work anymore in any place. These aware folks were mean. They were the types who put rats in the outhouse just to attract more snakes, and that's downright unpleasant. If you ever had the pleasure of using an outhouse, you'll know that. Like a lot of people, John Henry lost just about everything, but he didn't lose his life because he's just not that kind of person. John Henry was a quiet man, but he knew how to fight, yes, sir. And he was going to fight to his last breath. Thanks to that blacklist, John Henry didn't have a whole lot of money anymore, but he found himself a pretty good lawyer by the name of Louis Nizer. And they just sued the pants off those blacklisters for libel. Once the jury heard what those people were doing to honest and hard-working folks like John Henry, they were pretty hot under the collar. It didn't take too long to find that John Henry had done nothing wrong. John Henry won $1 million in that lawsuit, and those people had to pay $2.5 million more just as punishment. At that time, that was the most anyone had ever had to pay for libel, and John Henry and Louis Nizer stopped those blacklisters in their tracks. So I just want to tell y'all about John Henry and how he canceled what was an honest-to-God cancel culture. Thanks to Mr. Falk, people can go on telling their stories on the TV and the radio and even on Zoom, you know. Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Thank you for that. And, you know, and well done for producing an American accent. I know it's not your. Thank you for that. Our next reader is one of Speakeasy's organisers and fine writer to boot. It's Amanda Steele.
I've got a piece of flash fiction and the poem, so I'll start with the flash fiction. It is called After the Party. I looked around at all the faces I didn't know as the music ground to a halt and sirens could be heard in the distance. Run, you shouted and grabbed my hand as if we knew each other. Before I could explain, I had the wrong house. Are you okay, Erica? You asked as we ran through the park. I was out of breath from running, so I only managed to nod. There was no way I had enough oxygen in my lungs to tell you I wasn't Erica. I know I could have told you later, but when? After our first day? After I met your parents, or you met mine? After the wedding was too late? And by the time we had 3 beautiful children together, there was no chance of ever being able to tell you. I never knew who Erica was, and sometimes I felt like I stole her life, but she never came looking for you, until now. And the poem is called Ignorance Was Bliss. Back when there was no Google to answer questions, no Facebook to air every single unprocessed thought, when a diary hidden under my bed was the only way to vent, not knowing what lay beyond the boundaries of a West Yorkshire day ticket, when Blackpool was an exotic holiday destination, and we were only limited by our imaginations, the first traces of darkness, and how fast we could pedal home. The threats may have been there, but we never knew. The only way to know was to watch the news, and we were too busy doing nothing and everything, making memories. Free from the shackles of pinging phones and recording the moment, we lived in the moment, never knowing these were simple days, about to be consumed by the thirst for knowledge, and at the same time struggling with information overload, never realising that ignorance was bliss. That's me done.
Thanks, Amanda. Thank you. Okay, well, next reader is Reggie Agulha.
Hi. Drink. All right, got a bit of a theme about nature. Okay, so there's first a short little poem. It's called Wildflowers. So wildflowers, unrooted, unchosen, in this world I roam. Fields and fields spread out, so many colors scattered like life. Planted on this world to survive, seeded on this land to bring joy to someone. Imported, invasive, always a stranger, unknown, unwillingly, uncomfortable, wildflowers. Drink. Okay. The next one and the last one, I don't know, it's not flash fiction something. All right, I need a bit more space for this one. So this is a poem that takes place in the woods. I want to be left alone. I don't mind sitting here. I feel protected by the trees. I feel safe hiding under those leaves. Just let me be. There's nowhere else I want to be. The fresh scent of the morning dew, the crisp coldness of the midnight air. I want to be left alone. Let me be. There's too much happening over there. I want to be in the woods and left alone. I know, sir, but you need to put your fucking clothes on and get out of my garden. Great. Thank you. That's me.
Oh, that is so much like you, Reggie, that last second, please.
Thank you. Thanks, Reggie. Our next, no, I need to get my game face on. Our next reader is a writer is Mike Booth.
Thanks, everyone. Loving it tonight. A lot of you probably know that there was a commission on Facebook or all over the place for writing a poem about doors in Manchester. And they're offering 500 quid, but you're too late. The deadline's gone. Unfortunately, I'm too late as well because I didn't send it in the end. But I wrote this poem thinking about the doors in Manchester, and I thought it was quite an interesting theme about lockdown and how art can break out of doors in a different way. So here we go. Not read this one anywhere before. Just give me 1 second. Break with vowels the locks from iron mill gates. Unblock the doors long shut. And cut with words the tape in gold and black. Wake the hive, bring the bees back. Display your lines to keep the thoughts alive in bars and bistros, parks, cafes, in rhymes. May we meet, greet, and fling wide our doors as on the silent street we stop outside. Shoot the breeze, the ice now thaws. Fling open wide our once blocked doors. With fingers crossed, shake hands of liberty. Come meet me, share our verbal key, our poetry. As tram doors slide, we cram our lines aboard and catch an eye, a smile inside. No longer fearful, but united with our city pride. We stand together, hope in unity. This we is verbal irony. As stanzas crush, we touch, holding hands as this our rush hour now means so much more in dark Mancunian gloom than just screech of brakes and swishing doors. This cause we hold in common so much more together than divides us. Hopes soar as our lines and stories make up our bones, our blood, our spines. It was curtains for theatre, silence fell, and we will tell our children of the months when we were shocked. In Albert Hall no songs did ring, galleries, days out with kids, even roundabouts and swings, all were locked. The malls fell quiet, no sound of cheering from the football ground, but all departing, imaginations then were drowned, as holding breath, back indoors, alone and lonely, on screen only, our words muted, our sight polluted, friends so little seen. With words or music now we push, we pull, unsnib the locks, slide cold glass with freeing words aside, and open up our lives. The shock of sunlight hits our blinkered eyes, as now each outing, meeting, reading, listening, no longer taken as a given, becomes a new sunrise. The doors open, as do our hearts, as pulsing breath gives life to our new start, and doors of our perception, beyond infection, open, in celebration of this world of new direction. Now our spirit soars, and we, with wedges, chains, and verbal hooks, prop open now forever, and shouting, cheering, laughing pours from our long shut doors. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. That's great. We've got two more. We've got two more people on. We're making, we're making good time, and then we'll have a break, and then we'll have the second half readers. So the next two people to read are going to be Andy, and then I've got a poem which is about 90 seconds. So, and then we'll have a break. Yeah. So our next speaker is our next writer is Andy M.
Cheers, guys. It's been a great night tonight. I've really enjoyed this, actually. Okay, thinking back to what Mike said when we were just about the Doors Commission thing, I'm in the same boat as Mike here because I wrote a poem about it as well, and I got around to sending it off still. So this one's about a little place near where me and Amanda lived in central Denton, and it's called Post Office. There used to be a post office here where you could walk in off the street to buy 2 stamps and a fountain cartridge of posting a present to your brother to try and help his son improve his handwriting. Now it's a boarded up bar, closed in the middle of a pandemic, with 2 managers sat behind closed doors, wondering whether they will reopen. Now it's a boarded up bar, closed in the middle of a pandemic next to the library, a postcard happier times through a gap to the back door, and a sign blowing free in the wind, hoping the memories will bring back happier times. Okay, right, moving straight on now, something a bit different this one. So a couple people here tonight were in a very little informal writing group me and Amanda run, and this was an exercise actually that Amanda's actually read a version out of before as well, but it was about an end of the party. So this is called End of the Night. A bit of flash fiction, this one for a change. We met towards the end of the party after my brother back booked his taxi and you knocked on the front door, apologising to Melissa for being so late. It's okay, I smiled, something I would do, as Pete, my brother, looked at me in surprise, almost like he knew her. I wasn't sure about coming along, she carried on. I wasn't sure will you be carrying on so late. I just needed somebody to talk to. I didn't know what she was talking about, and neither did Pete. Rick, the taxi's due in 5 minutes, he called out from the living room. I shook my head. Give me 5 more minutes. Of course, 5 turned into 10. I ended up staying until 4 a.m. and then ended up walking her back to her house half a mile away. You don't have to do this, she said as we arrived at her front door. That's true. I could have other motives, I smiled. Good, because I certainly do, she kissed me. Her husband arrived back from his shift 4 hours early at 11 a.m. I bet the bus driver still has nightmare about me getting on the bus with my pants in my arms to this day. That's me done. Now, quick shameless plug before I go. I'm on the Manchester Upload this Saturday night, actually, between 7 and 8, when I'm reading up one of my poems that I have read here before called Longford Theatre. Enjoy the rest of the night, guys. See you later.
Thanks, Andy. That's on Greater Manchester Radio, yeah? Is that right?
Yeah, it is, yeah, Manchester, yeah. Greater Manchester Radio, yeah. The old GMR.
Yeah, what time is it?
So between 7 and 8.
Okay, between 7 and 8. Okay, we only have stars on this on speaking. So thank you for that. Okay. And good luck. Good luck. Hope it goes well. Okay, I wrote a poem about it was the 50th anniversary of decimalisation on the 15th of February 1971. And those of us old enough, and maybe there's a couple of us that can see it, but to remember it was a massive change, because you can imagine the money changing and how frightened people were, and people don't like change anyway, do they? Pardon the pun. So there was this massive sort of thing, and it was like affected everybody. And I read a piece in The Guardian about the 50th anniversary, and there was this shopkeeper, he must have been about 116 years old, and he was saying, I'm finishing, you know, this is it, decimalisation's finishing my business, you know, I've had enough. So I wrote something based on a conversation between a corner shopkeeper and a customer, yeah, and it's called Loose Change. On the 50th anniversary of D-Day, 15th of February 1971. Take what you need, Duck, she said, holding out her palm. On it a small mound. Not proper pennies that let you know they're in your pocket. Fell out your purse, blackened, manhandled, earning their worth. But these shiny coins she now held out. At least they've kept the Queen's head, but on the reverse there's no more Rule Britannia. One new pence is the same as both the old tuppence and threepence. A little surprised people feel short-changed, she said to the shopkeeper, with his nicotine-stained moustache, hands thrusted in rustic coat pockets, who stared at the brass on her palm as though they were glass or seashells. 100 pennies to the pound, he yelled. No more guineas, florins, tanners, threepenny bits, and half crowns. It's too much fiddling, he groaned. That's why he was closing for good, having over the years withstood 10 burglaries, 3 floods, 2 fires and 1 world war, in which the whole street had the roof blown off except his little shop on the corner. The same stories he told her every time she went in. But this, he sighed, putting half a pound of lard on the counter. You've gone too far. Good job of getting a pension next month. She said she didn't know what people would do when he was gone, so she checked the bus times to West Bridgeford, where they'd open one of them big shops called a supermarket, which understood the money and was cheaper. Okay, thank you. Great first half, and have a break. It's 20. I make it 20:48, so let's call it around 12 minutes, and I'll see everybody back here at 9 o'clock. And while he's gone, I'll put the running order on for the second half. Thank you. See you in 12.
Steve, your microphone is still on. Your microphone's still on.
Thank you.
Love the cat. All right, Dom.
Yes, not so bad, Carolyn. Yeah.
Good.
I'll see your haikus on the daily haiku sometimes.
Do you? All
Yeah,
right.
I don't go on there very often. I do contribute now and again, but I see some of yours on there. So
Yeah.
It's a good thing though.
It keeps, it keeps your brain going, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's always a good discipline to go back to a haiku.
Yeah, and it was, I hated haiku of all the forms of poetry.
Yeah,
and now I love it. I really, really enjoy it. So it's good.
Yeah.
So, and I keep finding new forms of poetry.
Yeah, I thought about it. I haven't really looked into many others.
Well, I mean, I found one called a Shadorma, and it's very sort of, it's another syllable poem,
Yeah.
But it's where it came from, heaven only knows. Somebody was trying to say it came from Spain, but I don't think so. I think it's come from America. That's what I think. I think somebody's just made it up, But I tried it, and it was, because I've been doing that much haiku, I suppose it was quite easy to do,
Yeah.
And I write a lot of, I've been writing a lot of tankers as well.
All right.
And I've even been trying my hand at limericks, but I don't do funny, to me. Ironic sometimes, but I'm not very good at funny ones, So that's sort of in abeyance at the moment.
Right.
Limericks for lockdown, I think it's called.
Have you tried Cleryhues?
No. What's a Cleryhues?
They're 3-line poems.
Yeah.
And it starts off with a person's name. And
right.
then the 2 lines, the description of that person. I think that's the main form of it anyway.
Yeah.
Named after somebody called Cleryhue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to have a go.
They're quite fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with doing haiku oats, somebody on the site introduced me to what's it called? Answerines, which are like a renga that you do with yourself.
Ah, right. Oh,
If you know what I mean, it sounds awful, that, doesn't it?
yeah.
But I mean, rengas are normally done with other people, you know.
Like the one on Daily Haiku. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've contributed occasionally to that, but I don't do it every week. Yeah.
Well, they have like the one on tonight's the slow renga, so that's just a line that you can go away and think about.
Right.
And that's more like my sort of poetry. But I have tried the Friday nights, you know, but they're a bit fast and furious, and sometimes my brain just gives up.
Yeah, and then you end up sort of writing something for the sake of it, and it's not always the best.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're always having these discussions, you know, on the side. We've got the for and against photographs, artwork, all that sort of thing.
I think they lose me with a lot of those discussions.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you need to study it that deeply.
No, I mean, you know, the Japanese actually did drawings with them, you know, with haiku. So.
Well, I was going to say, is it Hager? Is Hager the one where you put the haiku with a picture, with a photo?
Yes, yeah.
I've done one or two of those, and I quite like that idea.
Yeah, I quite like that, but it took me ages to find out how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, how to get the print onto the photograph.
Oh, I see technically how to do it.
Yeah.
Technologically, yeah, see what you mean. Yeah.
Well, as soon as I discovered it, that rate then, you know, I wanted to do them all the time then. I'm like a kid with a new toy, mate.
Oh, my background was typesetting and graphic design, so I'm well used to that side of it. But,
I'm just glad I kept up.
Yeah.
You know, my computer skills after I finished work. You know.
Yeah. No, you certainly need it these days.
Oh well, I think you miss out on so much. Yeah. You know, I think about all these. Oh, you know, I was going to say old people. I'm an old person now, so. But older people will say like perhaps in the 70s.
Yeah.
No, sorry, 80s or 90s. You know, who can't use computers, don't want to use them. You know, how lonely they must have been. You know, some of them in this pandemic. You know.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Are we
okay?
Are we good to go?
Yeah.
Well, before we kick off the second half, just got a brief. There's a message from Zoe, who's with us tonight, Zoe Robertson, from a night that I go to as well, which is an excellent night, and I think she just wants to give it to let you know about it and to give the night a little bit of a plug. So I'll hand you over for a few minutes to Zoe.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, it's really nice to be here, and it's just a quick one. Todmorden Wednesday Writers in Todmorden, obviously, but now the world are having another open mic in 2 weeks from today, the 17th. Yeah, it is St. Patrick's night, but you don't have to wear a Guinness hat of any kind. So that's the link. I'll just put it in the chat, and that'll take you to Eventbrite where you can sign up. We ask even audience to sign up just so that we don't go over the Zoom limits of how many people we can have, and to prevent any dodgies crashing in. But unfortunately there's no official performance slots left now, but quite often people sign up for a slot and then don't show up, so you may well squeeze in. But it's also just going to be a fantastic night, and it's worth coming just for a listen. So thank you, and hope to see you there, and if not, see you next time on this one, I hope.
Thanks, Zoe. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Todmorden, it's a good part of the world. It'd be good to go there when we come through the other side of this. So yeah, so the details are in the chat anyway. If you want to book on Eventbrite, you've also got a page on Facebook, haven't you? Is it? is it Wednesday Writers?
I think I don't really use Facebook, so I don't actually even know. But on Twitter, we're at Todd Wed Writers, so you can find us there as well.
Okay. Thank you for that. Excellent. All right, guys, I'll put the running order up if we're all okay with that. Obviously, with Zoe speaking, it's given Susan a little bit of time to digest that and realise that she's on first. So it's a big welcome back and thank you for kicking us off in the second half. Susan Darlington.
Thank you. It's good to be back. I'm going to open with a piece which is kind of about the cruelties of school, the things that you kind of accept at the time, but afterwards you look back and think, well, why was that the case? Why did that have to happen? It's called Carrie, which is in reference to the Stephen King novel of the same title. I learned about the shame of a woman's body from my mother's handwritten notes. The ones I pass, red-faced, to my teacher that excused me from showers and swimming. I stand at the edge of the echoing pool, flush under the stare of my classmates, and imagine every laugh is aimed at me, humiliated by my exclusion, and worried that while I stand here, everyone can smell the iron of my blood, see the stain seeping through my skirt's fabric and dribbling down the inside of my thighs. There is no pride in womanhood here, no sisterly bond in the changing room when our pubescent bodies are revealed from under layers of baggy clothing, where every breast bud and roll of fat is scrutinised and found wanting, where pads and tampons are bad, but not even needing them is worse. Steeped in lessons from Carrie, we fear becoming targets of ridicule, are cruel and careless with our bodies as we absorb a shame we don't understand. Thank you. And the second piece I'm going to read, when my niece was born, my niece has got this gorgeous red hair. And the first thing my mother said when we had this news was, it's a shame about the hair colour. And I pointed out to her that you've got two red-headed children, but she didn't really seem to think that there was anything odd in her comment. So this is a piece in a way that I wrote to my niece, hoping that maybe she would be proud of the hair colour and suffer less bullying than I did growing up. So it's called Red. This is our history told through fire and water. It starts in our home, a place of gods and dragons that we left behind to travel over the sea to the land of angels. But what angels were these that burnt our grandmothers at the stake as witches and drowned our mothers in the village pond as heretics? Yet, child, the shame is not ours to bear. We are Lady Lazarus, and with our hair of red, we will dance in the flames. We will sing underwater, and we will prevail. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan. Great way to start us off. Very powerful stuff. Our next reader is, our next poet and performer is Esther Koch. Welcome back, Esther.
Hi everyone, haven't been in a while. It's nice to see everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, nice and clear.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll do two short poems for you. One I've tested out at a few different open mics over the past few weeks, and one of them is entirely new, so any feedback would be greatly admired. Greatly appreciated, and I hope you greatly admire me as well. So the first one is called The Only Spring I've Ever Lived. Every crocus that crashes into February is a triumph of human compassion. In July, every set of eyes that meet my pomegranate thighs where they touch can eat them up. On September mornings, driving high above the ship canal, I notice my city, the chimneys of old like ruby baguettes, and the facets of new like dragon bloodstone. Heretofore, on protracted November evenings, it frightened me to go home. But it no longer pains me to notice how the sun resembles a Satsuma segment. I don't swallow the twilight like a hefty pill, and I don't guzzle the sky like rhubarb milk. I savor it. Now I bask in every day because every day is an Indian summer. If they offered me that roadside sugarcane elixir now, I'd down it till I'm sucrose and sedimented where I stand. Now everything to hand is in season. So that's that one. And this last one is called Make Hubris Great Again. Every day is your runway. If you've got nothing nice to say to yourself in the morning, then suture your lips, daub them in ketchup, and transcend the hemlines. A hamburger mouth to give that scrawny front row a hard-on. Align the horizon with your coffin tips, command the dust notes, and caesura the pre-show murmur. Pound the catwalk further into the ninth circle. You're no closer to securing a legacy with a full set of veneers, even if the only thing about Kylie Jenner that will survive the post-nuclear years. I don't need to suck on ether to rejuvenate my aura, because I don't wear opinion like a corset. My soul is unyielding. My body can't be tourniqueted and bled of success. I will wade into the patriarchy like Shakira in faux cerulean seas. I don't need an Adonis belt or tits swathed in chainmail to cross the river Rubicon. Thank you.
Thanks, Esther. Thank you. The great last line. I was reading recently from the great American poet, Billy Collins, who I know some of you will know. And he said that poetry is all about the last line. And everything we do is moving towards the last line. And that was definitely moving towards the last line. So thank you for that and welcome back. Okay, it's off the screen. What I've put on is gone off the screen. However, I have written it down the old-fashioned way. So our next reader is somebody who I think it's the first time to speak easy. So it's a big welcome for that. It's Sam Rapp, who is also known as the dyslexic poet. So welcome to you, Sam.
Oh, thank you very much. It's great to be here, and I think this might be my second time, but it's great to see you all again anyway. So thanks. I've got 3 short ones, if that's okay. I perform as dyslexic poet because I'm neurodiverse and I raise awareness about disability and dyslexia in particular. So my first poem is called Putting a Suit On. Getting ready is such a stress. Alarm clock never fails. My hair's a mess. I jump out of bed, tick tock, ticking clock. I'm running a marathon to rush a breakfast, shower, look for a shirt. I don't want to wear that skirt. Out the door with a see you later to my house. The car plays up as it's cold, refusing to start. I shout and scream, my head it hurts. I curse and curse. Rushing along the motorway at 30 miles an hour, another delay. Roadworks aren't needed, I shout. They don't matter. Late again, I work through lunch. So many deadlines to meet, bookings to keep. Miss the gym and home by 8. Tomorrow it starts again. COVID came. I get up when I wake. Work from home in joggers. No traffic jams. Put the washing on. The gym is shut, but I go for a run. My gigs are on Zoom. I miss hugs and social interaction, party and travels, but I don't actually mind. Thank you. My next poem is called We Are the Amazing Dyslexics, because we are. We are the amazing dyslexics. We are funny, we are witty, we have no apology or pity. We focus at a slower speed. We are not greedy, it takes us time to read. We are the amazing dyslexics. We can achieve greatness, walking on the moon and kissing the sun. We are unique when we speak, write, spell, whatever we do. We can make wine with Bacchus and look into the eyes of Zeus as the thunder makes the sky shake loose. Words or numbers can seem wobbly to some, like Einstein, Whoopi Goldberg, Agatha Christie, even Da Vinci written into history. Yeah, we are the amazing dyslexics. Thank you. My last poem is called I Walk in the Woods. The snow fell over my boots as each step crunched ice forming on gaiters, setting me off balance. I sat, got wet, made pictures in snow, wrote 3 letters on a dying tree, NHS, but the glow of white was too thick to see. I stood in a house that was a tree and looked through its giant bulk of dry, rotted wood from the worm biting her. But she still stood tall and made a home for animals to play. There was a pointed branch with a long finger from a huge hand leading the way. Then walking on through the density of white mist with all kinds of trees, tiny robins pecking at ice for prey, following, watching, resting on a lone leaf, then an open field of magic, children's laughter as they sledged down the hill, running, falling, a small hill half built and melting into a lump of muddy ice. The sun breaks through, it's cold and warm as it touches my face. The tips of green, fresh grass push through. Horses play in a field, their water buckets frozen to the top. The grey bites the chestnut, both ears back. They are angry and a foreleg strikes out. But they kiss and huddle together, warm with rugs on. It's nice to smile, be happy and free. I look back in the woods and say, I was here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Sam, and welcome back. Maybe we've not met because I've had a few shifts and I missed a few Wednesdays. So
yeah,
I think I would have remembered meeting you with those poems. So
oh, thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Our next reader is somebody who actually runs his own night. I don't think we've met. It's a big welcome to him from Speakeasy, and he actually runs a night called, I think it's called Like a Bolt from the Blue, which is a great name for a spoken word night. It's a welcome to Finn Hall. Welcome, Finn.
Yeah, hi Steve. It's not quite right. It's a blot from the blue, actually. There's no
a bolt from the blue.
A blot, yeah.
Okay.
I'll put a link onto it after this, and I'll put a link on to another project that I've just finished. It's a movie about poets that's got to be streamed on Zoom in a couple of weeks, premiered on Zoom, called Poets in Therapy. Yeah, you know. So I'm going to do a couple of pieces tonight that I've never done together. I've done them separately and I've never done them together. And yeah, you might need some tissues for this one. The first one's called Anguish of One. I'm going to cry until the skin wears away my face. I'm going to cry until the tears don't look out of place. Don't say that I can't just because I'm a man. I love you so much that it hurts to be alone in this world without you beside me. I'm lonely. It's you that I miss, you and you only. I haven't mastered yet the art of living alone, and I'm glad that I don't have a phone, because every time it rang, I'd think it was you. I miss your smile. A smile that would clear the clouds from the sky and the grass would grow lush and green. Children laughed so cheerfully and life got calm and serene when you smiled. The gods relaxed their icy grip. Life glistened as though it was the first day of spring, and rivers flowed so bright and sparkling when you smiled. I miss your tears. That when you cried, the lambs lay down to rest, and the buds curled up as if to die, and weary willows hung low and seemed to sigh when you cried. Then you'd laugh, and summer would start its shining glow, and the sky would turn blue and bright. Always day, never night. You'll laugh. But now my days are empty and happiness deserts me. Solitude encapsulates my whole, my soul, my everyday. This next one's called Reasons to Love. At times, love dies. For reasons unknown, love dies. But if we love someone enough, can we stop them dying? We hold them so much in our hearts, the hearts that beat in synchronized time. Accept that words aren't always needed, that the shared air we breathe is enough to be in the same room, the same space, the same time as each other, traveling the same journey. I'm happy to be shipwrecked on your shores, to be the flotsam and jetsam of your life, keeping my head above the waterline in your vision, to know that we're always in reach of each other, always traveling on an inspirational adventure together, always floating on the same waves. But what if we drifted apart, still in love, but just out of reach of each other? Lifesavers hiding in the mist, fingers grasping, arms outstretching, reaching. Then beached up, face down in the sands of time, gasping for air, trying to share the air with you, cast away, far away, away you are, so far. And all I have is the memory and comfort of still loving you, even though your physical presence is no longer around. But at least I have you still in my beating heart, a heart that once beat in time and rhyme with yours. Now all that is around me and all here that surrounds me are sequins, glitter and regret that we had unfinished plans of land still to see and places to be. At times, love dies. For reasons unknown, love dies. But I held you in my arms as you died. And now I hold you forever in my heart. And my heart will beat for the two of us. Thank you.
Thanks, Finn. Thank you for that. Thank you. And hope to see you back at some time. You're welcome, and good luck with the launch of the virtual launch of Unite. Okay, our next reader is Maria Flaherty.
Hi, can you hear me, everybody?
Nice and clear.
Good. I'm having to compose myself after Finn's poems. Wipe a tear. Okay, so I'm going to do two short poems. The first one is a letter to Tony Walsh in the style of a poem. He actually got back to me, which was over the moon about. He's one of my favourites. So yeah, a letter to Tony. I read This Is a Place today, not done so in a long while. Just when I needed some comfort, your poem brought a much needed smile. Words carried me away to the past, releasing the valve on emotions. Friendships forged, bonds fused, Manchester memories interwoven. I was one of the ones drawn here 14 years ago this year. The city took me under its wing, found me love and a co-op career. And now I'm a first-time mum, madly wasted in lockdown, in search of my sense of belonging, and this town didn't let me down. Once again we stood up together, as our mayor took up the fight. We won't take this lying down, round here we do things right. And so this is why your poem will forever and always ring true. For as long as Mancunians exist, the spirit of the city will too. That's the first one. Thank you. The second one, there was a bit of a contest on Instagram last week around song titles. So you looked up song titles from the year you were born and tried to put it in the form of a poem. So I had a go. I'm not going to tell you what year it was. I might give my age away. And I brought it, what I tried to do was bring it forward into the here and now. So a bit of a link. Okay, here goes. Too much, too young for the COVID kids. Going underground when they've hardly even lived. And the beat goes on for his parents 9 to 5, juggling school and a job. Please just give me the night, crying in my sleep until I have a dream that soon I'm coming out, but don't stand so close to me. Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Maria. Thanks. Not too subtle there with the clues. So thank you for that. Yeah, Tony. I actually knew Tony Walsh when he was a housing officer in the council in Manchester, and I met him. Well, we were doing some work together, and he just had a baby. His wife had just had a baby, and second one, and he looked knackered, and then I sort of did that work with him, and I didn't see him again. And next time I saw him was at Gordon Zola runs a great night in Prestwich in North Manchester called Cuckoo, and Gordon knows Tony because Tony turned up and he did a bit of an impromptu set. He was trying out some material, and I did something, and he came over later. We were chatting, and he recognised me from and I obviously recognised him. And I said I was a baby, and he's 18. It was 18 years since I'd seen him.
Oh my God!
But he just turned professional. He just full-time poet because he still works in housing, but he worked for Salford Council for years. Yeah. And so he just and he'd written some great stuff before the Manchester Bond poem or the poem we read for that was very evocative, was very sort of emotional and everything, and right for the time. But he's written some, he's written some even better stuff than that.
Yeah.
A really talented guy and a lovely guy as well.
Lovely.
Yeah. So I'm glad I'm sure he got back to you because that's the type of stuff he's made of. So thank you for sharing that with us. Our next writer and reader, it's a guy who's always welcome back to Speakeasy. It's Steve Mingle.
Hi, hello everyone. I've got a couple for you tonight. The first one is one I tried a couple of weeks ago, but I couldn't quite work out how to finish it. But Reggie gave me an idea, so I'm going to try it again. And it's about the relentless tedium of lockdown, and it is called Relentless. Peering through the window pane at gloomy skies and pouring rain, me holiday plans are down the drain. What I'd give to get onto a plane or even on a bloody train. But the powers that be have made it plain, from travelling we must abstain. So indoors we must all remain, living life in the very slow lane. This incarceration's inhumane. Life's so relentlessly mundane, we're not allowed to entertain. So we watch the telly yet again, where with utterances so inane, ministers pile on the pain. Creatives treated with disdain. What's your problem? Just retrain. Next election you'll be slain. Those experts exercise your brain with their educational campaign. We watch in fear as they explain how the virus lives on cellophane. From their evidence, they ascertain the infection rate's now on the wane, but can't eradicate it, just contain, and pray those vaccines break this chain. This sacrifice mustn't be in vain, can't face this cycle yet again. So though it goes against the grain and causes grievous mental strain, from fun and frolics we must refrain. It's really pointless to complain, so much to lose, so little to gain. So let's try to keep each other sane until the day they finally deign to let us out to drink champagne, or a French red from some posh domain, or a double vodka from Ukraine, or a Prosecco or a Guinness, or a pint of real ale, or a gin and tonic or a trendy cocktail, or a San Miguel or a Peroni or a Coors Light, or a cheap and nasty buy 2 glasses, get the rest of the bottle free house white, or a paint strip of brandy, or a half a shandy, or a bottle of sickly sweet flavoured cider with more numbers than you can shake a stick at, or a warm gassy beer in a plastic glass. Anything really, anything at all. Just please let us out. Thank you. This book is hostile, but very silly. Please take it with a pinch of salt because it may offend some of you. Last time on Speakeasy, I did a piece about the excitement of being a little boy going to the footy.
Steve, sorry to interrupt you, mate. You've knocked your picture out there, mate. You might want to look at it. All I can see is fog.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, sorry. It's me paper. Sorry. Hi, Gideon. What's going on here? Hiya. Hello. Okie dokie. Yeah, so football since then has been a passion for me through well over 50 years. And like most committed fans, I find I often get more pleasure from the failures of my team's rivals than from our own successes, which is an extremely unhealthy way to live, obviously. But it's what we do. And what we also do is develop hate figures. You know, when you've been following football for as long as I have, you've got quite a few hate figures, and being a particularly vindictive guy, I've probably got more than most. And ironically, most of them have ended up being pundits on Sky and BT Sport. So even now, I can't shake off the bastards. Now, my ultimate hate figure is a guy called Gary Neville. And for those of you who don't know him, he used to play for this mediocre outfit based just outside of Manchester. And when opposition fans used to chant about him, they focused on his perceived aesthetically displeasing appearance. And it's in this context that I put this poem together. And it's based unashamedly on a piece written in the late 1970s by John Cooper Clarke. That poem was called Twat. This one is called Neville. His parents met over a parking ticket on a double yellow line. They said it was a perfect match. Cruella de Vil meets Frankenstein. When he was born, his gruesome features made the midwife chunder. No one could bear to look at him, not even Stevie Wonder. His mother sent him out to play, come rain or hail or snow. She hoped he'd finally get the hint and find somewhere else to go. He begged to be let back inside, saying, "Mum, I'm freezing cold." But that door wouldn't open till she located her blindfold. She took him to a plastic surgeon. He said, "I'm not a miracle worker. Shame he wasn't born a girl. You could have dressed him in a burqa." He tried to get a summer job, but couldn't find any takers. So he ended up a model for a firm of gargoyle makers. When his mates were all out on the pull, where was he to be seen? In his bedroom with a blow-up doll and a jar of Vaseline. He thought he'd have a chance with one of Rooney's cast-off hags. But even they won't let him near unless he wears 3 paper bags. Daleks hid behind the sofa whenever they saw his face. They feared this vile mutation could wipe him out without a trace. He walks into a crowded bar, it empties double quick. A fleeting glimpse of that moustache makes grown men physically sick. His face looks like his playground scraps were all against Joe Frazier. He's a one-man vindication of the case for euthanasia. We all know that looks don't matter because personality comes first. But he's such a loathsome scumbag, this makes things even worse. He truly is repulsive, top to bottom, back to front. They can't find a good word for him, but I can. Neville. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess you follow him on Twitter. This is okay. Our next writer is Lisa O'Hare. Welcome back, Lisa.
Hiya, nice to see you all again. This is one from an anthology called The Buzzing Bars. A lot of Manchester people, maybe some of you are in it, but I've not actually read this to anyone. So here you go. The city shines. As drizzle swaggers down, we just pull up our hoods, our Manchester crowns. Cobbled, filled potholes, dodge better than our best strikers. Nothing can stop us on our way to our nights out. The weather is wit. The weather is wet, but the wit is dry. Our hearts always full, heads always high. But this place in the sun fizzes like Vimto. That's when our city puts on its best show. Glass towers glisten, bars overflow, sounds fill our streets, everyone glows. As we know, sun is fleeting. Our sun is so glorious, we soak it all in, knowing the rain is more notorious. We put on our shades, forget our brollies exist. Live in that moment as sunshine should never be missed. Thank you. And this is one a bit pandemic-y. I'm not sure if I've read it to you guys before. Apologies if you have heard it before. It's called Calculating the R of Common Sense. Common sense is the X of your intelligence over the Y of your dense, a delicate balancing act heavily influenced by those who like to dispense shady theories from Facebook or YouTube or raging rock stars forming new splinter groups. But now they fear common sense was never in their baggy jeans. They should stay there and sit in their rocking chairs and maybe stay out of public health affairs. Common sense shoots grouse near Barnard Castle. Common sense has a second house also near Barnard Castle. Common sense got Brexit done, it made it oven ready. Common sense hid in a fridge, we all saw that on the telly. Common sense is in the MSM, but have you read a paper? Use your common sense, they scream, but not like that, you traitor. Common sense cannot be taught, it has no definition. Yet here it is, our best hope to put the virus in remission. Common sense is the X of intelligence over the Y of the against, and I fear the former is in short supply, judging by recent events. So how to increase supply of common sense? It's R, it's reproduction, how to convince the anti-mask so hell-bent on destruction. I'm really sorry, I just don't know. I haven't got that cracked. So it's fingers crossed and all the best. Good luck to trace and track. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Lisa. Thank you. So we've got two more people to come on. I don't think I've missed anybody off who's booked, have I? I'm sure people would have told me. Anybody who's watching, okay, because I make it sort of 25 to 10. Our next two people should take us up to about 1:45. I want to finish no later than maybe 5 to 10. Okay, so we've got time for people if you've got a poem in your back pocket you want to read, and it's about the length of my poem, okay, which is about 90 seconds. Then just send me a private message on the chat facility. Okay. Otherwise, we'll hear just the two people who were booked tonight, who are left. So our next writer is Antonia Fusaro.
So I've just got two for you tonight. The first one is called The Road to London. And I've recently learned about a thing in the counselling world called The Road to Brighton, which counsellors use to help their clients get over addiction, be it drug addiction, sex addiction, or basically addiction to making really poor decisions. So this is my response to that, but I've switched Brighton out for London. So this is called The Road to London. Don't go to London. It's as simple as that. Cancel the train, unpack your bag and take your shoes off. The lights may feel impossible to ignore, but they will only make you blind. And you will find as time ebbs by that you need the sight in both your eyes to help find your way back. Because the well-worn track you knew so well will become hidden in the undergrowth. And you'll have to fight the insistent pull from the charm of the city that takes pity on people exactly like you, looking for something other than, something more than, something different to the ache that fills every hollowed out waking moment, but that ache can become comfortable if you turn away from the unforgettable. Let it settle in your gut like Sunday lunch. And who doesn't love Sunday lunch? And sometimes you may think you want bottomless brunch, but how can you put all your money on something that doesn't even know what it is? So I'll tell you for one final time, don't go to London, because I'm scared if you do, you'll forget how good it is to be home. My first one. And the second one I wrote last week at Andy and Amanda's writing workshop. We were all given a title. Mine was Reasons for Attendance, and this is what came out. I really don't want to be here. In an ideal world, I'd be elsewhere, anywhere, elsewhere other than here. I try and think of places I'd rather be in a vain attempt to disassociate me by thinking my body into a different location, but the surroundings are too sharply focused to enable distraction, leaving me undeniably here with you. We're not alone. There are 30 or so other people that don't want to be here either. But their lack of enthusiasm comes from sorrow. Mine comes from the need for tomorrow to come sooner. So this could be over quicker, and I wouldn't be looking at you boxed up in wicker as they clumsily manhandle you into the ground. And their eyes keep glancing towards me, wondering why on this cold spring morning I'm not mourning like I should be. But you were different to me than you were to them. They got the glossy, the rehearsed and the measured, and I got more storms than your child should weather. But the wind is dying down now, and the rain eased as you faded. And although it's still too cloudy for sunshine, as you are lowered, it will rise. Thank you.
Thanks, Antonia. Thank you for that. Excellent stuff. Okay. Our next reader is somebody else who apparently, like Andy, is on the BBC, and maybe he'll tell us about it. But our next reader is Ant Briscoe. Welcome back, Ant.
Thank you. And considering you twisted my arm there, I'm obviously going to have to now mention it. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to be on BBC Radio Manchester on Friday during Mike Sweeney's radio show, just after 1 o'clock, doing what will be my last poem of this very quick set that I'm doing now. So I've got 3, so I won't keep you. The first one's about that horrible phrase, I hope this email finds you well, because we're in a pandemic, so it hasn't. So this is, I hope this email finds you well. Well, so late on a Friday, stays in my inbox all weekend, but I do get a notification, but I try to ignore it, have a nice weekend, so it stays in there, out of sight, out of mind, stays unseen. But it haunts me, like a serial killer in my dreams, like Michael Myers in the film Halloween, or more accurately, because it's sent by one of us, but I'm not quite sure exactly who it was. It's kind of like the killer from Scream, but I've always got my phone on me, so don't worry. It found me. It definitely found me. That's the first one. The second one is called Sorely Mistaken. It was written in Andy's workshop. So this is called Sorely Mistaken. Laying down on a couch, I told him about my past. I delved deep into past events, lost loves and traumas I haven't addressed, and feelings I bottled up and had repressed. He just blankly looked at me, and now I can see why I'm banned from DFS. To cheer myself up, I met my friends to go base jumping. I was the last to jump off of our extreme sports group. I played an amazing riff before I hit the ground. I really should have packed a parachute. After I healed to cheer myself up again, I went on holiday. I got my bag searched by security. I asked why if they stopped me. We're going to have to perform a cavity search, they did say. No, your daughter replied. I went to the dentist yesterday. They didn't crack a smile into a room I was taken. 10 minutes later, I was sorely mistaken. Okay, so this one is what I'm doing on the radio on Friday after 1 o'clock on Mike Sweeney's show. It's one I've done quite a few times in the past, but I'm going to finish hopefully with a nice happy laugh. It's called Dad Jokes. Just a load of dad jokes. Loved and hated by millions, apparently invented by us blokes. This is just a load of dad jokes. Did you hear what happened at the local zoo? They had too many penguins and they didn't know what to do. So they rounded them all up and threw them into the lion's feeding trough. The frenzy went on for hours because they couldn't get the wrappers off. Loved and hated by millions, apparently invented by blokes. This is just a load of dad jokes. Two dogs go out drinking all sorts of alcoholic stuff. They wake up the next day, one looks at the other and says, "How do you feel?" The other goes, "Rough." A cheese factory exploded in France. There was nothing left but debris. I threw my boomerang away. Why did I need it? And then it hit me. I went to a restaurant on the moon, had great food and great beer, but I'd stick around long no because it had no atmosphere. And then I went to a wedding. It was beautiful. Even the cake was in tears. But I got let go of my favourite job the other day as a human cannonball. I was fired. I got fired because I let the manager's bike fall over. But why did it? It was just too tired. A horse walks into a bar and the bar owner goes, "Why the long face?" He told the barman that he just tried to sue an airline company after it lost his luggage, but sadly he lost his case. I threw out all my used pots of spices. It was a complete waste of time. Invited a mushroom to my party. Well, he seemed like a fun guy. I'm only invited 25 letters of the alphabet. Don't know why. And when I saw he had grey hairs in my beard, I thought I was going to die. I'm a different colour look. If you think that's a boring joke about the expense of getting old, I have a boring life and a boring job. I work in a paper factory. My responsibilities, they are twofold. I robbed a calendar from a calendar shop. Wasn't one of my cleverest stunts. Police came in, I got arrested. I only got away with 12 months. Police also had trouble at a local nursery. A 2-year-old was resisting arrest. A serial killer pirate was mistaken for a surgeon. They only found out when they dug up a chest. They brought in an investigator. Yeah. Was just an alligator in a vest. Look, dad jokes aren't easy. I am trying my best. I wrote a song about a tortilla. Well, actually, it was more of a rap. I got asked to put the cat out. I had no idea someone set fire to the cat. Loved and hated by millions. Apparently invented by blokes. This was just a load of dad jokes. Look, these jokes were all awful, but I thought they were quite shareable. I wrote them down here on paper. I'm sorry. They were terrible. Thank you.
Thanks, Ant. Thank you for that. Some great wordplay there, but I do think it's more difficult for performance poets as well, because Ant is great on his feet, like some other people are, like Gordon, for example, and that's just I hope I've not missed anybody out, but certain people who are, when you see them when they perform, are fantastic as well, in terms of performance poets. So well done with that, because you did a great job with it. But I know that actually your thing is to actually be on your feet as well, and when you tear the paper up and stuff like that, it looks great. So brilliant, thank you for that. Right, so I've had a couple of people two people who have said, "Can I do a poem?" It's 1:45, so the answer is yes. So a poem each for a new person new to Speakeasy, at least I've not met them, and then somebody who has been to Speakeasy before. So our first person is a welcome to James Ridgley. Welcome, James.
Thank you very much, guys. I've really enjoyed all the poems tonight, and there have been quite a few poems about your home city, so I thought I'd give you one about mine. That sunny point of winter is the time I truly love, when the light it breaks on through and snow falls from above, when Oxford's winter's floods have all but turned to ice, where I enjoy the gaiety and other signs of life. And so I tramp around the lake, my thoughts they do collect, and finally among emotions, a happiness detect. For while I'm feeling pain and a horrific sense of loss, when I'm out in nature, I can release my albatross. So I zip up my coat and see my breath before my face. I look at the gleaming spires and I feel I found my place. For I love my city and its dappled bits of green, and among the teeming life I never feel unseen. And as my walk progresses, I pass into the shade, a moment for my melancholy in this ancient glade. I find a lonely bench just to rest my feet. I stare over to Christchurch and rub my hands for heat. I can only see green shoots and not a single daffodil, for this is not the same as Wordsworth's famous hill. I'm often reminded that I like a pastoral scene, and sitting in this meadow, I know just what they mean, and I no longer worry for my actions to atone. As I enjoy my solitude, I no longer feel alone, for when I take my walk and sit quiet for a while, all my thoughts, they drop away, and I cannot help but smile.
Thanks, James. Thanks for sharing that with us, mate. You know, all the best. Hope to see you again. And to finish us off, it's someone who has been to Stretford, who has read her work there. So it's great that she can actually do it virtually as well. It's welcome to Rana. You need to unmute, Rana.
Hi, just a second, thanks. Yeah, it's been a great night. Yeah, I really loved hearing everyone's pieces. So this is Don't Take the Knee. I hear Pretty's mantra spread nationwide. Again, vitriol goes viral, swimming across the media's Nile. Bloodstains wiped away with tomorrow's front pages, covering more than just the pandemic. Would rather swallow sulfur or acid, even sulfuric acid, than submit to your twisted pathways. Protesting in a way which people did last summer was not the right way at all. Should we continue to bow down to your versions of what it means to be free, but forgo the choice to kneel and be seen because it doesn't chime with your view of being PC, for history to smudge through the ugly bits, paint them with a colonial brush, and overlook the statues built on the blood and sweat of slaves, only condemn their fall. Last summer was quite a moment with all the protests we saw taking place, a moment in time, fragments captured that gather the feelings amassed. We have stood on this soapbox before, calling out to be heard, voices submerged under more than just the welfare state, while you spread more lies, fake news, increase the dial on poverty and hate, the mantra of more than just white faces. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Rana. Thank you. Thank you for that. Big thank you to everybody. Great to see everybody who we've seen before. Lovely to meet new people. You know, we are the first Wednesday, or we host our night on the first Wednesday of the month. That's easy to remember. So thank you for that. I'm going to hand you over to Andy, who may well want to say something.
Cheers, guys. Not a lot to add, really. Bookings are as normal, or for me, on this Sunday coming at midday. Either on, most of you got me on Facebook, to be honest with you. So if you want to add me, just send me a quick message. Just message me on Facebook. Put my email address on the column now. If you want to do my email, my email address is this. Okay, so 12 o'clock on Sunday. Okay, now obviously with this BBC thing happening Saturday night, I have no idea what the bookings are going to go like it on Saturday. So, and then once a slot, I'll say get there quick on Saturday, Sunday. So see you all soon. It's me done. Back to Steve.
That's great. Can I just say to everybody, I just want to give people a moment to get the email. I'll read it out. It's Alpha Echo November AEN 1 Mike Papa Oscar MPO at, so it's AEN1 MPO, M for Mike, MPO at yahoo.co.uk. So if you email Andy midday from Sunday, book a slot for next time. And great to see everybody. Look after yourselves, stay safe, etc. We'll see you next month, hopefully, or in the near future. Take care.
Bye, everyone. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good night, guys. Stay safe. Good night, all.
Stay safe.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.